What is up, everyone? Welcome back, episode 21. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Going to start it off to give you an idea of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to go into, I'm going to kick it off in a little bit and kind of talk about what's the difference between the 23 and 24 fills. John is going to talk about its 20th year of Citizens Bank Park. So he's going to lead us on a little bit of a memory lane there. Then we're going to have Mike talking Dumbass of the Week. He's going to talk about spring training, his thoughts on it. We're going to do some viewer comments as always. And then I'm going to wrap it up with a new segment called What's in the DPF Beer Fridge. So the first couple things I want to kind of talk about today is this Saturday at Jersey's in Glenside, we are having a holiday DPF event. It's pay as you go. Anyone can come. What we're hoping to do is there's really three charities we're kind of pushing towards. One is Toys for Tots. So Alex and Sig of DPF created an Amazon wish list. And if you buy it tonight is the last night. If Alex or Sig is on and you could put the link in the comments here, that'd be awesome. If not, I will definitely post it. But if you buy it by midnight tonight, we'll probably be able to get it there on Saturday, and it's from 1 to 4. The second thing is I'm going to talk about Philly sports shirts. So thanks for putting that up, Mike. PHILLY sportshirts.com. And that's where you can get what I'm wearing. John's wearing the nice new red one. Mike has the T-shirt and the hoodie in the background. We got drunk Eagles fans. We got drunk Union fans. So that's, pretty awesome. The next thing I want to push before we get into the show is we have beer labels. So we're doing this 3-pack. The 3-pack is a DIY beer label. You buy your own glass from the dollar store, $1 or $2 now. You put it on. You also get a sticker and you get a magnet. So 3 for $15. There are 2 different styles. There's the High Life, but then there's the cross bats, like our main logo. So 2 other things from Jersey's. One is going to be Jersey's does a thing where they sell stockings, and you can put your name on the stocking, and I think it's $5. And then they hang the stocking up, and then they use all $5 goes towards some charity of their choice. And Mike, if you just want to talk about the third, because I think you'd be better at explaining and what it is and where we're going to be, how we're doing it.
Sure. So there's a foundation called Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome. We are supporting on Saturday. It's a very rare genetic syndrome that affects about 1 in every 25,000 births. Just so happens that our youngest daughter has Wiedemann-Steiner. And so this is a non-government funded foundation. And so every dollar raised will go either towards research for treatments, specifically research for treatments of gastrointestinal and behavioral issues. But also next summer, the foundation is having a conference, and some of the funds raised on Saturday will go towards scholarships for families to come together and get to see doctors that specialize in these rare conditions all on one weekend. And that's huge for these families when, sometimes they can't get to these doctors. So that's Wiedemann-Steiner syndrome. We'll have it's on our page, the link. We'll have a QR code there Saturday, and you can donate straight to the foundation.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. And Alex, I can see. Thank you for posting the link to the Amazon wish list, hashtag DPF cares. So that's pretty cool. We really thank them for doing that. Alex and Sig, when you buy them, it's going to go to Alex. And Alex, Sig, and a bunch of us are going to bring all of the items to Jersey. So it's pretty cool. I think there's close to 100 items right now, which is awesome. And that's not even like the people that are coming to the event and bringing their own unwrapped gifts for Toys for Tots. So thanks. Jumping in. So my segment, I wanted to talk about what's the difference between the 2023 Phillies and the 2024 right now Phillies. I got out the computer. I did a couple spreadsheets. It's the fucking same team. It's the same team. Then I kind of thought about, let me look through each of the guys, each of the players who are here. We don't know if someone's going to get traded. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But my kind of big question was, where did we get screwed? And a lot of people are like, oh, the hitting didn't do well. And I totally agree with that. But if you go back the last 20 World Series, do you know how many of those World Series teams did not have a closer? Someone who'd pitch the ninth. Anyone want to take a guess? Mike?
Zero.
None. Not a fucking single fucking team is doing it by fucking committee. It doesn't fucking work. You need a fucking guy who has fucking humongous balls that goes out every fucking ninth inning and wants to hold the fucking ball. Not like this Josh Hader. I can't say that word, but Papa John's word. Pitch twice. The dude won't pitch twice in a row. Like, I don't want a dude like that. I want a dude who's like, yeah, I'm good. Even if he isn't good, I don't give a shit. He's going to say he's good. Let the coach determine if he's not by his velocity and whatnot. They need a goddamn closer, and I'm sick of this, by committee, because we weren't good enough 2 years ago. We weren't good enough last year, and nothing changed. So how are we good enough now? We're not. There has to be a change in philosophy, and that's going to be a tweak, right? Because these guys, you're not going to all of a sudden get Kyle Schwarber to be able to bunt. But what you can do with Kyle Schwarber is not put him fucking leading off, because you know what that does? It just clogs up the base paths. Tell me another team that where a guy's on first. Let's say Schwarber's on first. Let's say the next two guys get out. There's 2 outs. Your 4-hitter hits a double. I would say that 95% of the teams, that guy's scoring because he's running on contact. Schwarber gets to second on a double, by the batter, and we're fucking happy. If he gets to third, it's like fucking amazing. You cannot clog up the base path. So that's like the subtle tweak that needs to be done. The other thing that I looked at was Trey Turner. He can't be this bad against left-handers. He has to be a little bit better. Nick, if he's here, he's still going to swing and miss at 35 to 45% of balls outside of the zone. But here's where I want to go, and I wanted to kind of open up questions to the other guys here. What one position, and it doesn't matter, say it's starter, we can only do one thing. What do you want to do? And I'd like to hear from both of you on that.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I'm going to go, I'm going to swing into the dark, and this ties into something later, but and not a lot of people, we've talked about it, but not a lot of people are mentioning it, and everybody's caught up because, the aura of the guy. Garrett Stubbs, he's nothing more than a glorified clubhouse DJ. Like, let's just throw it out on the table. I love the guy. I love his spirit, love his enthusiasm. I love, he's a great clubhouse guy and all, but does absolutely nothing for me on the field.
John, when was the last time we had a backup catcher that wasn't a fucking mascot?
A long time.
Todd Pratt? I don't know. Maybe he was the starter, but it might have been Todd Pratt. That's what I'm
Aaron
thinking.
Ruff.
Yeah.
There's what's his name? Who's the dude? He had a pretty decent year as a backup the one year. What was it, Rupp?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Rupp.
He had
Rupp was all right.
15 or 17 homers.
Rupp was all right.
In limited play that year.
Coasty was my guy. I loved Coast. Coast was decent. But I mean, my main point about it is I get what you're saying, Chris, but JT can't be catching 130 friggin' games every year. It's just, and he struggled last year, and that just adds to it. Like, you can't have him struggling. What's he got? Like 2 years left? We need like pretty much every ounce of him down the stretch each year. So I think our guy is rated AAA. I mean, but I know they're not going to do nothing because they just signed Stubbs. But just hypothetically speaking, if they wanted to throw Stubbs in a deal or something, or whatever. Like if Stubbs wasn't here, I'd bring up Marshawn. And Marshawn was up here before, and he played exceptionally well. When didn't he play for? Wasn't JT out for a little while a couple years ago, and he came up?
Yeah,
He did.
And he played exceptionally well, like filling in, and then they kept him up as a backup for a while, I believe.
So, John, your idea is less time on the field behind the plate for JT, a better backup catcher who you can play 40 or 50 games. Okay. I don't disagree with that. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you covered the Schwarber to like the 4 or 5 hole and get him out of for the 1 hole. I think it's, and we've talked about this before, but I think it's defined roles in the bullpen, right? So, to your point earlier, hey, you have a guy that pitches the 7th inning, you have a guy that pitches the 8th inning, you have a guy that pitches the 9th inning, and we have those guys. They just have to sack up and do their job, right? And so I don't care who it is in the 7th, 8th, or 9th. If it's Kirkring in the 7th, Sir Anthony in the 8th, and Alvarado in the 9th, let's do that. And if one of them stumbles, then we shuffle that deck. And maybe it's even Hoffman in there too, right? But defined roles as the end of the game bullpen comes along, and if that's some where we can get someone that is a not nomenclature a closer, so be it. I was a proponent of Hader until you guys keep talking about he won't pitch 2 days in a row. I don't know if he would pitch 2 days in a row on a contender rather than on the Padres or wherever else he was at before that. But, I think that's my thing, right? It's a change in philosophy for Topper. He loves this, I don't know, whoever's available and whoever's around and whatever I feel like. Well, no, you get a starter that goes 5, 6, or 7, and then you have a 6, 7, 8, 9 defined role in the bullpen. That's me.
I mean, I guess the last point I'm going to say is like every GM's talk to everyone and everyone's interested in everyone, right? Like that's a little annoying about the trade rumors and things like that. And before, like, I feel like the last couple of years, we knew Turner was like the number one object. I don't know who it is this year. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not Ohtani. It's not Yamamoto. It's not going to be those dudes. And, I worry that this fan base is so loyal to dudes and not loyal to winning because they don't have a ring. So if they want, if Bohm has to go to get Bregman is fucking better than Alec Bohm, period. He's not younger. He's just better. He's a better hitter. He's a better fielder. He's just better. So if like that's the deal and they have to give him up, I'm cool with it. They get to give Castellanos, like obviously I'm good with it. People want to say, Bregman's a cheater. Do you know what? Think about 79 and Rose. Rose was cheating, but guess what? He came in 79 and got their Phillies act together, and 80 put him over the hump. They don't have someone who's a fucking winner like that. Turner isn't like, he's a winner, but I don't think he's vocal like that. I think they need someone who like knows how to win and is that guy. Bohm, like he's like, think about this. Everyone loves Alec Bohm, and I do too. But he's droopy dogging it just as much as Nola. Like, always complaining to the umpire. Play the fucking game, man. So, like, if Bohm goes, I'm cool with it. If Stott goes, I don't love it, but if I get a ring, I'm cool with it. And that's kind of where I am with it, guys. So I don't know who's up next if we're doing viewer comments, but I'm just the Phillies are no better right now than they were last year, and that's not good.
I got a question. Got a question for you, Chris. What do you think? I heard this on the radio earlier, actually, about Bregman. How would you feel if they somehow got Bregman, right? Moved Bohm over to first and DH'd Harper and got rid of Schwarber.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, like I'm cool with that.
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harper rules the roost. So if Harper doesn't want to DH, Harper's not going to.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
like,
it all depends on
going to like. There's a GM and there's like he's the real GM, but I'm fine with it. it all comes down to like getting a ring. I don't know. Like, John, you're the young buck. Listen, man, like Mike and I are getting up in age. We got a lot of
limited time.
yeah, seriously, it's limited time. The way we drink too, like our fucking livers aren't good. Like, I don't know. Like, it could be just this year. I want to fucking win, is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
Agreed. The window of
Agreed.
opportunity is shrinking.
It's
So let's
closing.
get it done.
Wheeler's gone. So I think we're going to John and talking about 20 years of CBP. So what's up, man?
Okay, yeah, I mentioned this to the guys, within the last couple weeks, and I noticed the 20th year of CBP is coming upon us this season, and I still remember I went to the very first game there. So I just, real quick, I'm not going to bore everybody with paragraphs or anything. I just went online, came up with like a top 10 of the best moments to happen there. Then I'll just share a couple quick, like real quick moments of my favorite, like me actually being there, and then throw it to the guys in whatever their best moments of them being there. Got to start off with the 0-2 pitch, the World Series winner, Brad Lidge in that famous pose, throwing that ball to Ruiz. I mean, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget where I was at. I remember I was at the bar and I just ran around the neighborhood, went to all the Oxford Circle bars honking and shit. But I mean, you got to start off with that. Roy Halladay's no-hitter in game 1 of the 0-10 division series. You can't beat that. Jimmy Rollins walk-off double in game 4 to NLCS in 09. You got Victorino's grand slam in the NLDS in 08, game 1. Phillies clinched the NL East on the final day of the 2007 season. I remember that because I was with Papa John that day. We were actually down the casino.
Papa John popped in the comment and dropped the P word already.
I saw that. I was cracking up. I was trying to
Attaboy, Papa John.
Letting them rip. Aaron Rowan crashing into the fence. That's iconic, like balls to the wall play. I mean, they actually padded because it didn't have padding back then. They actually added the padding after that on the fence back there. Bryce Harper's walk-off grand slam against the Cubbies. You got, what's the other one I have written down here? I got it in my notes here. I mean, Ryan Howard's 58th homer. Chase Utley's speech after the parade, world fucking champs. I mean, there's just so many like moments. Like I had more, but I mean, I just tried to narrow it to like a top 8, top 10 of what actually happened there. But I mean, real quick, I'm not going to draw on too long, so you guys can share your moments. I remember I went to the actual very first game. Remember when when CBP first opened, they would do 2 exhibitions before interleague play. They would do 2 exhibitions against an American League team, and it was raining. It was raining cats and dogs. My buddy's like, dude, we should just go home. They're not going to play. I'm like, fuck no, we're not going nowhere. We got all this beer. They got all these people waiting too. We're not leaving. And finally started at like 3:30. I walked in. I was like a kid in school. I was like a grade school kid. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Fuck the vet. I was cursing the vet like right away. It was like a cathedral when I walked into place. And it was an exhibition game against the Indians. But I mean, I got that. Right behind me is one of my favorite moments I was not there for. You can see the kid getting zapped. The one and only time someone got tased at CBP. Look at him, dude. When he's getting zapped, it's just like such an iconic picture. I was not there for that. But I mean, I got so many memories.
You're talking about your top moments. Like you're about to get thrown off because like first it was like Bull Durham, you didn't watch it. Now like how is fucking Bryce Harper's home run not number 1?
I was just gonna ask.
I was gonna throw that there. I was gonna throw that there.
All right. I thought they were in order because I was like, I don't know, like that's got to be iconic. Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, leaving that off is criminal.
I was gonna throw that in there because I was there for that, so I was gonna throw that in there.
Yeah,
but I wanted to highlight his grand slam for the Cubbies that one year.
That was awesome.
But The one when they beat not last season but the season before when they went to the World Series versus Houston, when Harper tied it and Stott hit the game winner against Ohtani and the Angels, I was flipping up and down. I had my Stott Sunday Special Lehigh Valley jersey on, but so many great memories. Actually, real quick, the first year of CBP. That was the first time I actually wore a costume. I dressed up as Spider-Man for 40 games. A very lit Spider-Man, and I cut a hole in the mask. No, I was actually a little finesse back then. I was actually, yeah.
Oh no, I meant like you could still be skinny and it's tight. I'm just like, you know.
And then, like, I had no pockets, so I would wear shorts with it. I would wear, be like lounging Spider-Man. But all the vendors got to know me and shit, and it was pretty cool.
And the reason why I asked if it was tight, I would have put a fucking salami under my suit. Like, you know what? You're walking around and it looks like you're fucking packing heat. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
no.
Shit.
I did.
You had the fucking opportunity.
I wore a jock strap for the superhero bulge. Difficult in the bathroom, but hey, the ladies loved it when I was walking around the concourse. What do you got? What's your favorite moments that you've witnessed in person there, guys?
So, Chris kind of took my number one. My daughter, when she was a senior in high school, wanted to go and visit Penn State and Westchester, and it was my job to take her. And she called me on a Thursday. I was traveling for work, and she said, can we switch the order in which school we're going to? Because on Sunday is game 5 of the NLCS at CBP, and I'd like to go. And I was like, yes, we can. And that I met you guys in the parking lot. That was, first of all, I hadn't seen you in a long time.
Yeah.
Had a 700 level lager with you, and then went in and eventually got to see that Harper home run that you were talking about, Chris. Another really cool moment for me was we took a tour as a family with my brother. We got to walk around, on the field, and I've now done that in several stadiums like Fenway, Progressive Field, Wrigley, and CBP. If you guys have a chance to do that tour, it's really cool. Especially if you're a huge Phillies fan or a fan of any of those ballparks. And then I think not actually being there, but you were talking about the Lidge, the last out of the World Series. And, I was in a bar in Phoenixville. We bought them out of champagne. We ran into the street with bottles of champagne, and I gave one to a cop, and he just started drinking it, dude. And that's not a time I was there, but that's an iconic moment that I remember because of CBP. So, really cool memories. I call it Mecca. Like you were talking about, you were cursing the vet. Like I played at the vet. I went my whole, growing up from when I was born to 2003. I got the vet 71 to 2003 commemorative hat on. And as soon as I walked into Citizens Bank Park, kind of like you were talking about, I was like, wow, this is Mecca. This is where every Phillies fan wants to go. So just a cool spot. I also like how they've evolved it over the years. So they didn't just keep it the same. Every time you went, well, it's evolved with different amenities over the years, and I enjoy that as well. So what about you, Chris?
So I have 3. 2 of them are for 2008. One was that Brett Myers at bat versus Sabathia that kind of led to the John's moment with the home run. I think it was a 13 or 14 pitch at bat. He's like fouling off balls like in CC Sabathia. It's like Brett Myers. It was just awesome. The second is I'm going to go with another pitcher. So the moment I felt, as a Philadelphian, you're never sure, right? It could be, we're winning 10-0 in the 4th game of the World Series. And we're like, I don't know, like things could happen here. Joe Blanton hitting that home run and being there was like something that was like, just one of those special moments where like I felt that was the moment that was the tipping point where I was like, we're going to win this. It just was like that, certain vibe of it. That was just like completely unbelievably special to me. And the last one is like, it's a little known one. I mean, it's not little known. I think it's the longest game, but I stayed for it all. It was like during the week where like Wilson Valdez pitched might have been the 17th and 18th inning. It was like a rain delay, and like it wasn't like Mitchie Poo getting over at like 4:31 in the morning, but it was late. It was 1 or 2, I think, and that was like a really cool moment to like say I was there.
I remember that game because I went to bed. Carrie fell asleep on the couch and woke up to go to bed and woke me up and was like, "Yo, you got to see this." And I watched the end.
That you think cool. It's like a replay, right? Like you're like,
I watched both games.
Yeah.
I watched both games. Well, I watched the Mitchie Poo one at the vet. I had to go to bed because I was at Roman at the time. I had to go to bed for school, but I put the old Walkman headphones on and I stayed up in bed with the lights out. I'm like, haha, they can't catch me. I ain't got the TV on. I got Harry on, and I listened to that until the. But I remember that Wilson Valdez one too. I watched that one.
So cool.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that, man. That's a little
you guys are great ones.
Kind of thing.
Yep.
We're gonna roll into a few comments, and I'm gonna go back to the top here. Like you said, Chris, Alex dropped the link in, so anybody interested in a Toys for Tots or a Wiederman Steiner donation, if you buy the Toys for Tots tonight, like Chris said, they'll be there for Saturday. If not, come live and bring unwrapped presents. Bud was saying Hoskins is missing this year, so I think what he's saying is a right-handed bat off of the bench would be nice. For what you were talking about, Chris. Papa John and the P word. I don't know, John. He says, John, your dad, your papa says you owe him $200. I don't know what that means.
I think it was a Jeopardy thing. He said P word for 200.
I'm busting your balls. Steve,
but I ain't got
classy. Steve is drinking box wine like a classy broad. Nice job, Steve.
Steve, are you at a brewery or at home? We got to know.
He's home drinking box wine.
I know, but he could be at a brewery. Like Steve's a wily character.
Steve
man.
gets around, man. I see his adventures.
He could be at some winery drinking boxed wine.
Steve's also saying, preach around, the Phillies being the same team, but maybe if we give Stubbsy a few more starts and JT a few more days off, JT is rested a little bit more at the end of the season. So, I get it, but I think John will talk about Marshawn's stats here in the Winter League, and they're pretty impressive, quite frankly. So in a little bit. Let's see. Bregman has back problems. I didn't know that. Are you familiar with that, Chris?
No, because I kind of looked and he's playing 155 games for the past 3
I haven't heard
years.
That.
So I'm like,
wonder if that's an old thing, Bud, or he's gotten over that, or maybe I didn't know that. So I don't know why Harper would be pissed if he's just the DH. Maybe Tasha. Maybe that's what she's talking about.
That's my guess.
Let's see. Late August business person special walk off against the Mets and Wagner that started that late season run for the playoffs. That's a great one, John.
Yeah.
Nice call.
So John used to be my ticket mate. And John, we were at this game together, I believe.
Nice.
We probably had anywhere in between. It was really difficult. It was probably between like 18 to 24 beers each a day. But I remember that.
Vaguely, you remember that? Tomei hitting the bomb. That was game one, wasn't it? When he basically, they called CBP the park that Tomei built, because he came at the end of the vet for a couple years and got a lot of asses and seats at the vet so that they could pay for CBP, if I remember right.
Yep. Did he hit 400? He hit 400 with us, didn't he?
Yeah,
number 400.
Yeah.
Did he hit it? At CBP or an event? I can't remember.
No, I think it was at the CBP to like
That's
left
CBP.
center.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, I
Think.
couldn't remember. I was trying to think of that earlier.
Mike says last game of 2007 was his favorite game. They clinched. Jimmy got his 20th triple, and the Mets choked. I mean, that can't get much better than that.
Beautiful.
Alex says the bar is looking good. So we now have a garage bar and a basement bar at DPF for everybody that's listening. At my house is the basement bar. Thank you, Alex. You're invited anytime. In the growler is 60-minute IPA Dogfish Head. 08 World Series, sitting in right field by the foul pole. People in our row were pouring shots up and down the row. Nice, Ed. I got to go sit in your row next time.
Right.
I always think it's funny that the Phillies were supposed to have the top bullpen, but they decided that no, we want the bottom pen. Didn't want to hear the fans after a bad outing. Paul, I think
Remember
I'm
that?
vibing on. Yeah, I think I'm vibing on what you're saying.
Yeah.
And, tried to forget about that. Last one, Sig. They did swap early on. Now the visiting team
Yeah.
gets. Yeah, that's right. So now I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So I actually have seats that overlook the bullpen on purpose this year coming up, and just so I can kind of heckle the opposing team. So I can't wait for that. Cool, man. Hey guys, thanks for all your comments. Keep them coming. We'll get to some more here in a little bit. I'm gonna roll into the dumbass of the week, guys. So I got a question for you first, okay? So first of all, the dumbass comes to us from Indiana this week. Let me ask you a question, guys, okay? Just use two on here. And guys, if you want to throw it in the comments too, we can get back to it later, but this is kind of a now thing. Like if you had an interview, right, for a job, and it was, I don't know, let's call it 60 miles away. You didn't have a car. What would you guys do to get there? Just throw out an idea.
Bus?
Okay.
Bus.
John? Bicycle, maybe?
60-mile bicycle. No, I was thinking Uber. I was thinking maybe you would say Uber.
No, I'm just kidding.
I
was trying to be adventurous.
Like
I would be adventurous there. Yeah, like a cab or something.
David, I love it. I still have the comments up. David says Uber. Thank you, David. Well, one RO dumbass of the week was a very resourceful, aspiring, exotic dancer. Yes, she had an interview at a strip club about 60 miles away, and she just decided to get super creative with her transportation arrangement. So she went to a car dealership, and she started to look at a vehicle, and then she texted her friend and asked her friend to continuously call the dealership and ask for her salesperson, so that after about 4 or 5 times that they called, they got so distracted that she just slipped out with the keys, took the vehicle, drove 60 miles to her interview, and then came back, dropped the vehicle off at the business next to the dealership, so she says, and went home. When she arrived home, guess who was there, guys?
The
police.
The popo.
Because guess what? When you want to take a vehicle on a test drive, you have to give them your license, which she had done. They had taken a copy of it, and so when she arrived home, the police were there. She told the police, and I quote, "This is no big deal. I dropped it back off when I was finished with it." Unfortunately, what happened was the friend knew that she dropped it off and took it from the parking lot next door, the business next door, and the car was recovered about 20 miles away. And so RO dumbass of the week is now facing felony charges of auto theft and identity deception, and is facing up to 2.5 years in prison. Did
she get the job though, Mike?
Great question. I do not know that answer. But rather than calling an Uber or taking the bus or riding a bike, she's now facing jail time. So that's our dumbass of the week.
Mm.
That reminds me. You remember the Jackass movie where he
Yeah.
takes I forget which one, and he takes the car out for a test drive, and they do demolition derby with it, and he drops it off, and he just runs away. Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
So funny. Well, Johnny, you're up, my friend.
All right, so just a little update on the farm, guys. We got a good amount of our Jersey Blue Calls in the Australian Baseball League with a record of 7-1. Are in first place. They're pretty much kicking ass. Just highlighting a few of the guys that have some pretty good stats. Anthony Quiron, Quiron, I hope I'm saying it right. Catcher, 391 average, 8 runs, 9 hits, 1 homer, 5 RBIs. Cade Fergus, which shout out to Jordan Disson's dad. I was just talking to him the other day, and he said Cade Fergus was Jordan's roommate last year. So his roomie pretty much having a good season down there. Little mini season. 7 runs, 5 hits, 1 homer, and 8 RBIs. Kendall Simmons, a second baseman, 367 average, 8 runs, 11 hits, 1 homer, and 7 RBIs. And my buddy from down under for the Blue Calls, he's a native Australian, Rexon Wingrove, the first baseman, 571 average. 3 runs, 8 hits, 2 homers, and 8 RBIs. And just a quick Brandon Fosnaught, is that how you say it? The pitcher for the organization.
He's from Westchester, U.
Yeah, he's 2-0 with a 2.25 ERA. Still pretty good down there so far.
So, John, why are people going to Australia if they're not Australian? Like, Dominican's closer, Mexico's closer. Like, why are they going there, do you think? Do you know, or do you?
No, it's a good question. I've been trying to actually dig that answer up because I was curious myself. On their website, it just says we're partnered like an affiliate of the Phillies, the winter ball affiliate of the Phillies. So I guess maybe because all these guys are on the Blue Calls. They said down there. There's nobody above like high A down there.
Okay.
So maybe that's where they try to build them up. So they sent a little batch down there. I'm not sure. I'm going to try to get that answer by the next episode because I'm curious too. I've been trying to dig myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I have it. Hold on one second, Johnny. I got the comments up still, and Jackson and David are asking you questions here. So first of all, Adelaide's the team to beat this year in the ABL. Jackson says the minor league boys are playing great. Watched Glendinning hit a bomb for Melbourne a few weeks ago. So a little comment there, but David asked, does the ball spin the opposite direction in Australia?
I wonder if it does.
Yeah,
that is a good one.
Little down under slider.
Yeah, that's a backup slider that rotates the other way. That's
what. Before I real quick, like these last 2 players, that's what warms my heart. Like when I'm because I want all the. By the way, for those out there that are interested, the Giants games, it's convenient. It's on the weekend, but you got to watch it Australian time. So if it's like Friday here, it's Saturday there. So it's like Thursday here, you're watching Friday nights. You know what I mean? So you got to just match up with the Australian time. But I mean, I'm thankful they're on weekends because I'll stay up late and watch them. I've been watching them. Now, this past weekend's games were not on because the Perth Heat elected not to broadcast their games. I don't know why. It's kind of a weird move. So I had to like patchwork. When I was posting stats on the site, I was just following like everybody else, trying to go on there, trying to research and stuff. But you could usually just go on their website, Adelaide Giants, and you can watch it for free. Create an account. But
it's funny you mentioned that, John, like about having to look on, your phone and just get like stats updates. Like, we're still doing that with fucking spring training here at times. If it's not on TV, sometimes it's not on the radio. You're like refreshing, and you're like, all it'll have is like I'm on use the score. It'll have, it was like 5-2. It won't show hits, errors, runs, who pitched, nothing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We can tell like how fast the guy swung at a pitch and how far it went out, but like we can't put spring training games on.
Right.
Yeah, that's
agree with
crazy. It weren't. Yeah, it definitely like it's 2023. They should have like everything available. But there's an actual app. I think it's called the Baseball Plus app where you can watch these games out on too. But it just real quick, it just warms my heart that like when I do post about the Giants and stuff like that, there are a few people that are like, "Oh yeah, I watched the game last night." I was like, I thought I was the only nut that I thought I was like a nut staying up. This is pretty cool. Now I could talk in the comments to people. But
Yeah, I think it's cool, John. Like I honestly wouldn't have watched or knew about it. And even though I'm a baseball nut, I know it kind of went on, but I had no idea there was affiliations and things like that. So it's something great you brought to all of us.
Yeah, we got
Absolutely. I
baseball
appreciate
there. The Australian League goes into like January, so like pretty much right up until spring training.
Which is, by the way, like 76 days away.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a quick question that I want to expand upon our beginning a discussion or a couple segments ago, John or Chris, either of you guys. So we talk about Marshawn. He's tearing it up. Was he like batting 370 something? He's second in the league in innings.
373.
He's got like 10 or 11 doubles, 2 or 3 triples, 2 home runs. Like he's tearing it up offensively, and we've seen him be decent defensively, right? So, and I'll flip the coin. We know Stubbsy's a really good influence in the clubhouse, and he's a chemistry guy. And so I want to hear from you guys, maybe and maybe some in the comments. What do you think the clubhouse blowback is if we make that move? Even if maybe Stubbsy gets hurt, or we just decide, hey, Marshawn's doing better in spring training, and we're going to have him be the backup. And what's the positive or negative impact that you guys think would happen?
Mike, I'll chime in on this. And like, I just got finished reading a book about, it's called The Bronx Zoo, but it's about like the Yankees of that time. They fucking hated each other's guts. They hated each other's guts, but you know what? They won a ring. I think it's like cool that they're all buddy, but I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I care about rings. Like Sparky Lyle hated Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson hated Billy Martin. I don't care if they like each other. I think that's overrated. I think like if you have people who are winners and want to go after it, and I'm not saying Stubbs isn't, but I don't know. Like he's a mascot. He really is. Like, it's funny. Like he's on the radio station. I listened to the interview. What do you think the first question was? It's not like, hey, how many games do you think you can play next year? It was like, hey, is dancing our is dancing on our own going to be played next year? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't want to be asking a fucking catcher if like, hey, is this song in your playlist? But like, that's what we all think of him. And if you don't, like, you're just not being honest, I think. But
cool, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wonder, like, because to me, like, I know that great teams have chemistry, but I also know that when you have a team member that is really good in the clubhouse but never contributes on the field, that starts to wear and tear on some of the, I'll use quote stars, right? Like, hey, when you're in there, you gotta perform. And even if, and if you're performing, then they put you in there more so that, maybe JT gets a break in this, in this example. So
I think, Mike, the other thing that's important to kind of think about here is like, name a manager who's like that hard-nosed Dallas Green guy. Like, we don't like each other, but we all hate him. We don't like each other, but we all hate Billy Martin. In today's day and age, and like Papa John, I want you to say the blankification of America. Like, it's true. Like, coddle, like, oh, we have to have Rob Thompson, who's like, I want a dude like Jim Leland that comes out, he's, smoking Gertz, and it's
ripping heaters in the dugout.
I stink. everyone stinks, and if you're not playing better, you're not going to play. Like that'll never happen today. And like
That's
I
called
miss that.
they're player managers now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright, cool.
I'm with Chris. Like, I got him a beef though. They never asked fucking Sal Fasano what his favorite song was when he was here.
We know it. It's
But yeah,
Rush. It's
my
Rush,
opinion.
Tom Sawyer.
My opinion on that. They signed. I mean, if they figure out in spring training, like, hey, Marshawn's playing his balls off, we get, I mean, it's not going to cost much to cut Stubbs or cut him loose or trade him or whatever. I'm cool with that. But I mean, if they decide, all right, we gave Stubbs a 1 year contract, we're going to stick with him as a backup. Marshawn's only 24, and he gets a full year. He'll get like another full year of AAA, and then you just let Stubbs walk next year, and boom, you got your backup next year. But I'm sure either way, JT's like, yeah, I'm fucking dancing on my own. I'm catching the 130 games. My back's hurting, dude. Can you like swing a bat? Can you like call a game? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely going to be an issue down the road.
Cool, man. Thank you. Chris, you want to hit a couple of comments?
Yeah, sure. All right. So the first one, Chris, you are really handsome. You're like the rose between two thorns tonight. I'm really glad I tuned in. Wow, that was really nice. It was completely
Was that
fake.
Papa
And I just
John?
made it up. It's not on the comment
I was
list.
gonna say, is that Renee?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I thought Papa John wrote that.
So our friend Zig sent us one of these questions, and I kind of want to bring it up. He texted it before, but I want to open it up to Mike and John as well. Based on FWAR and BWAR, Zach Wheeler has been the best starting pitcher in the MLB over the last 4 years. Considering Verlander and Scherzer got last offseason 43 average annual value, do you see the Phils giving Wheeler the same 2 to 3 year contract at that amount, or more years at a lesser 36 to 37, which is more in line with Cole and DeGrom? Let Wheeler walk to sign a younger Burns. My first pass at this is like, I'm okay with Wheeler at 3 max. I'm not okay with, and I don't care about the money, honestly. Like that, it's not my money.
It's not my money.
I care about more about the years.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
3 years, like I'm cool with Wheeler, but anything more than that, I'm not cool. So whether it's 25, 30, or 40 million a year, like that's the only thing I care about. But Burns, yeah, he's the stud in waiting that I've talked about that I want them to get. However, they have to get him.
Yeah, John, you mind if I butt in?
Go ahead.
So I have a differing opinion, and it's kind of weird. So I would be okay up to 6 years, and I'll tell you why. This guy was hurt the beginning of his career so much that his arm does not have that much wear and tear on it. And that might sound weird, but I've read a bunch of articles about how he didn't pitch a lot in the beginning of his career because he was hurt. Now that he knows how to take care of his body, he's healthy. I think he's got a little bit more longevity to get us through. I don't know if 6 years. I'm up to like 6 years, so 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's just something that I'm reading between the lines, and I'm on your team. Like, it's not my money,
It's reasonable.
So give them whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not our money. I think, and now that you said that, my mind was made up about 3 years max, like Chris, but my mind was made up on 2 years and a club option of the third. But now that you say that, Mike, that there's not too much wear and tear, I might be willing to go 3 years and a 4th year option year.
Got you.
I'd go that far. I mean, but I think if they're going to extend them, you do it now. You don't wait till next year. Get it out of the way.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go to some others. So Butch is Chris, stay warm. So like we all know that or if you don't, the DPF garage doesn't have heat, but that's why we got these hoodies, man. Like you got to get these. I'm warm. Mike's been in here in the hoodie. He had no problem. We didn't have no heat in here. We don't need no heat. You got beers and bourbons and whiskeys. But I may be getting HVAC. I'm not sure. It may take passing the hat at Jersey's, and maybe I'll be able to get it. But that's
I'll
funny.
bring some cash.
Has Lenny ever been to the Drunk Bills fans bar? No, but he has like an open invitation. He just can't
Yeah,
stay.
dude. If he is, you better tell me because I'll be there.
Yeah,
Yo,
he
I
just,
will-
like it's a time limit. Like you have to have that in the stipulation because, like, I don't know. There's a
Yeah.
second floor here. I know he's been having some troubles with paying rent,
Right?
and I'm just not interested in having a freeloader here. But like, yeah, the dude wants to
Yeah.
stop by. Yeah, I mean, he's the fucking dude. We're not gonna do
He's been-
coke off the fucking bar top, dude. But like, you can drink some beers and shit. You can take your
He's
teeth
been
out,
known-
put them in a goddamn cup. I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck.
He's been known
Lenny
to
from
lose his
LA.
teeth in weird places too.
Let's
Oh,
pick a
yeah.
list.
Dumpsters.
Let's make a
Dumpsters.
list. Lenny, Croc, LA. Like let's start formulating the list.
Yeah. Steve, he's going to be he's at home now, and he's going to be at Von C and Ball Birds tomorrow. So, Von C, we're doing this beer exchange, this craft beer exchange. So we have Second Sin and Von C actually participating in it, and 20 to 22 others bring in a cool case of beer, and everyone leaves with like one of everyone else's beers, and it's like awesome beers. Like one of the dudes, John Gottschall, like he's bringing St. Bernardus. Like to me, that is like game over. And then Steve Mold, he actually wasn't sure he was going to go, so he had me take his. I'm like, I forget what the name of. Oh, Sam Smith's, and for some reason, like 6 of the bottles broke, so it's only 18 left in there. I don't know. Like I dropped it. Only 6.
Better
of
bring
them
another 6,
broke.
Steve.
Yeah. Bring 6 more, Steve. So, let's see. David, spring training rocks, heading down the final week. This will be a good segue after a few more comments. Mike's going to talk about spring.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Looks like we lost Chris for a second, so I'll bump in here. Yeah, John, it says Donna says one of the comments on. Oh, there's Chris back.
Button. Yeah, I pushed the damn wrong button because I'm like going up trying to look at these things. But Steve says, I don't know if you want nails at your house, Chris. Yeah, probably not. I mean, my wife's probably like, I don't know who's worse, like you or the dude, but it's the dude. Like, trust me, it's not me.
Can I
all
field Brian's question?
hey.
Oh yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
So
A
Brian,
wise man.
go ahead.
Yeah, Mike.
So Brian's asking if we he just joined and he's asking if we talked about a center fielder to get us through till Rojas is ready, and we actually have talked about this, Brian. So I'll lay out my idea from got to be at least 6 weeks ago now, maybe more.
Mhm.
It's Nick Castellanos, Mick Abel or McGarity, one of those guys, and another prospect maybe for Mike Trout,
Cash.
Brian. So, and Cash, that's right. So Mike Trout and one of their relievers. So Mike Trout can come back home. We can have 2 of the best players in the major leagues right now. One at first base and one at center field, and that was something that I floated out there a long time ago, and we've seen a lot of rumors flying around. Probably not something that is realistic, but it's something that I think would be, it would make the 2024 lineup better than the 2023 lineup. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Shellhammer LV Lark, I don't even know how to say her name. I know you're always on here and I appreciate it. I feel like you're real, like this is a World of Warcraft name. Like, do you play like massively multiplayer online role-playing games and you just use your name? because I love it. I love the name, but I wasn't sure. But he was able to find internet connection tonight. Hello from the Skook. The Skook is like one of our like DPF. We love the Skook. The Skook loves us. I just think the internet doesn't love them because they're still getting that, putting their phone up, and like your mom is picking up on the other side and was like, "Mom, put the goddamn phone down." And you're like trying to get porn, and it's just coming line by line. If you guys remember that, like it was so like 300 baud modem. It would be like, I don't know. I just waited 20 minutes to see Pam Anderson, back in whenever it was, like the late 90s.
1996.
Yeah. Are there any DPF outings, games plans for next year? Not yet. We've generally not done that, but we're kind of thinking about it. It's more of like, if we're having tickets or if it's a game, we're like considering it because like we can buy a whole section. Maybe we can get one of us to throw out the ball, like, I don't know, pick randomly. Or, maybe we go to the Met Stadium, we buy like a whole section and, one of us, again, throw out the ball, but you just throw it in the Mets dugout. Like, don't even try to throw it to the catcher. Just throw it right into the goddamn dugout, right at whoever. It doesn't matter. But on a side note, before I kick it over to Mike, did you see like the Mets rotation and the Cardinals rotation? The Cardinals rotation is like 36 years old, and the Mets, like, it's horrendous. It's like Jose Quintana, McGill, like just terrible dudes. And I'm like, I feel better about like, that made me feel like Nola was like, all right, yeah, like that's not, I mean, he'll still get like, he'll lose 6-5 to Quintana on like, 3 fourth inning homers, but on paper, I'm like happy that I can laugh at something.
Yeah,
I feel like they're close to being eliminated.
It's horrible.
It didn't start yet.
There's a lot of Ben Gay coming out of those two clubhouses. I'll tell you that much.
And they got Senga. They're putting Senga out there as their ace. He's like a 3.
Agreed. Well, I'm going to roll into why I love spring training, and at the end of this, I want you guys to chime in too. I got a quick question. So, all right, so picture this: everybody that's a Phillies fan knows that in the Northeast it's cold, right? So, as I'm aging, 32 degrees, 20 degrees, that used to be not a big deal to me. Well, it's cold, right? And when February comes around, which by the way, it's 76 days from pitchers and catchers, and yes, I am counting. When that comes around, we've been like literally 120 to 150 days into what I'll call, dreary, icy, snowy, freezing rain, etc. Right? And spring training to me is just like an oasis at the end of that. I know that once the pitchers and catchers go down there, live baseball starting. I've now planned our 4th trip, so this spring training will be down for at least 2 games. And what I know is that after 3 or 4 months, depending on how long the Phillies stayed in it in the fall, that I'm going to be able to see some live pitching. I'm going to be able to, wear shorts and a t-shirt and a jersey and just enjoy watching some of John's guys go out there and try and make the team. Watch the superstars do their thing, right? I always remember going to the backfields when the Victorinos and Jimmy Rollins and Utley and those guys were, they get in that bat or two, and then they go to the backfields. And one time I got to see a race between Victorino and Rollins, and Victorino beat Rollins the first time, and Rollins got so pissed that he's like, we're running it back, and he just smoked them. And it was just something cool to see those guys working it out over after the off season. I think secondly, if you've ever been to spring training, there's a really important part of spring training, specifically at Bright House Field. It's called Frenchies. Okay, so whether you have a seat, a ticket for a seat, or a ticket in the berm, or whatever, you'll all eventually end up at Frenchies. And there was one time a St. Patty's Day game that we never even went to our seats. You get to know the bartenders. You get sometimes you get a home run ball that comes out, it hits the roof or goes over the roof or comes through the bar. Just one of my favorite spots to watch a spring training game from out in left field. And then the last thing is before I ask you guys a couple of questions, is the DPF wife here loves beaches, right? And so some of the nicest beaches in the country are in that Clearwater area, right? And so I am blessed that DPF wife here loves baseball too, but she's not as fanatical as maybe we are. And so she wants to also experience that weather down the beach, go in the ocean, that kind of thing. And she's able to do that there. And it's just an amazing atmosphere. So I think the question I wanted to pose to you guys is, if you've gone, I know at least Chris has gone. And so I say if, because I'm not sure, John, if you've gone, what is, so if you've gone, is there anyone or anyone that's watching, has there anything that you loved about that experience that you want to share? So I just kick it over to you guys.
Yeah, Mike, I'll start off, and it's the Frenchies thing, and I'll just kind of tell a story. So I think I've been to spring training. It's not 10 times, but I think it's 8 or 9. I went 2 years ago with my wife, and Frenchies has, like, I think 6 locations other than the ballpark dotted around Clearwater Beach. So they have this passport book, which is basically like, if you would do the drink at each of one of the places and, get this passport stamped, you then get this cool shirt that says, I drank at all places on Frenchies. Well, I think it's for people who were there for the entire, they live there, right? And they're like, oh, I got my stamp in March. I got one in, June. Renee and I, we got the goddamn stamps the same day. We walked to every single place in Clearwater Beach and got the damn stamps, and we got the terrible t-shirt. But it wasn't terrible because it was like the experience. So one of the things that's cool about Clearwater is when you're walking around, you are in Philadelphia. People are not wearing other stuff. You're going to be like talking to Phillies fans every bar out on the beach. It's all Phillies fans in March. It is awesome. Not to mention the games, but like you can walk everywhere. If you're staying in Clearwater Beach, it's a little bit more expensive, but like the beach is within walking distance. Awesome bars, awesome, restaurants, fresh seafood. Like I love the grouper sandwich at the Palm Pavilion, which is like one of my favorite spots. It's just picturesque. It gets you out of this damn weather, and it gets you out of like that seasonal affectional disorder where like,
exactly.
Hey, it's bright and I'm like feeling, you can do the Gabe thing. Like you can go and like, you can get a little sun on your, on your bag if, you need to. I think it helps the serotonin. So that's kind of like a couple of my stories, but it's awesome. If you have the chance and you love baseball, you have to go at least once. No matter where it is, even if it's in Clearwater. It's not far. It's just getting to Clearwater Beach sucks because it's one causeway and it's jacked all the time. So that's why I don't want to stay in Clearwater. It's cheaper, but like getting into the beach part, it absolutely sucks.
Johnny?
Yeah, I've never been, and I keep telling myself every year, yeah, next year. And it might actually be next year. I'm trying to move. I'm going to be moving in like summer, so I don't know if I can do it this year. I'm gonna try for a weekend. I got a buddy that lives down there, Roman grad, Chris. He graduated with me. He lives in Tampa, which is not far away. He goes to a lot of the games down there when spring training and all, and the minor leagues. I definitely want to go. When I was a kid, like I used to watch them. I used to listen to Harry and all that, listen on the radio or watch PHL 17 when they were on there. But I used to think, these don't count, whatever. But as I'm getting older and wiser to it now, it's like, oh, there's actual like young guys trying to make the team. This guy's trying to come up. This guy could be a trade piece if he shows off in camp, whatever. So I definitely, if not this year, I'm definitely going next year. I have a goal. I mean, I'm 45 now. It's pretty much of a stretch of a goal. I said by the time I'm 50, I have to get down there, but it's going to be 46 at the latest. I have to go by next year.
Yeah, you got to do it. Do whatever you got to do. You got to, you know what? Like you sent us those John calendars of each week, each month, and we love those, man. You got to sell those, and that could be like the spring training fund.
There you go.
If you haven't seen these, like John's wearing a bathrobe. There's one where he has a plate. There's one where he's wearing like a sailor's outfit. It's fucking great. Like it's
the one that's weird is the one where he's fondling Harry's statue. That's weird.
Yeah, but it's also special in a certain way, right? Because and it was funny, like because it says, in December, John jingles Harry's balls. So
weird.
It was perfect. It was perfect. It was weird, but it was perfect.
If you read the fine print, it's the 1-2 splitter.
Chris, bring us home, bro.
Yeah, so the next segment we're going to go into is like what's in the DPF beer fridge. So this is part of a story, and Mike's part of this. So we noticed that like when Mad Elf comes out, where there's like cool Mad Elf stuff, and Trogs was doing like this whole event, and we're like, hey, can you get off of work? Can you go? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can do it. And Mike's like, well, I'm going out to Penn State. How about I stop there? And I was like, would you mind picking up stuff for me? Like I'll Venmo you. So Mike's there and he's FaceTiming me and, he's like showing all the beers. And I'm sitting there with like a pen and paper. I'm like, Naked Elf, Gingerbread Stout, Mad Elf. And like, I think it was like, I don't know if it was probably like 2 cases worth or so. Would you say, Mike, that you brought?
Just over that, but yeah.
Okay, it was pretty close. So what we're going to do today is I've never had this before, and I've had Mad Elf a lot. I've never had the Mad Elf Grand Cru, and it's a cork top, and I'm going to, kind of try it and talk about it live on screen. But what is in this and what makes it different? So other than the cork, like why is this beer cool? It's still 11%. It's only available once a year. The color is supposedly going to pour burgundy, as opposed to the Mad Elf is way lighter. They use Balaton cherries. There's a spicy Belgian yeast, and the grain they're using have like a chocolate, Munich, and Pilsner. So hopefully it doesn't go all over me. But does it give us the pop? Yeah, a little bit. So I'm gonna pour it on the camera. And here's another thing Mike got me was the Mad Elf chalice. Gotta have the freaking Mad Elf chalice, right? So it is currently obviously burgundy, and I always try to coordinate my outfit beers. So you got burgundy top on, you got the burgundy hat, you have to have the burgundy beer. Reminds me of if anyone watched Friday, like the dad in it, where he's like, he's got the belt, the mushroom inside of the liner of the jacket, mushroom shoes.
You got to coordinate. You got to coordinate.
Yeah, come on. How'd you get fired on your day off? Delicious. Definitely different than Mad Elf, though. Just the Mad Elf. But this one's great. We're coming up on the end. I want to, do our normal ending. And, as always, fuck Craig Kimbrell. Fuck Scott Rowland, fuck the Mets, and we appreciate you tuning in. We'll probably be back in 2 weeks unless Christmas. No, it'll be before Christmas. So off season, we're doing every 2 weeks. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. hopefully we see you this Saturday at Jersey's 1 to 4 in Glenside. So thank you, everyone. Out.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.